You ever wonder if an old book could be more than just a story? Like, what if it was a secret code, a detailed map of the future, written down with such stunning precision that it just seems impossible? Well, today, we're diving into one of the most incredible examples of this you'll ever find, the Book of Isaiah. So, here's the big question we're tackling. How on earth could a text from the 8th century BCE describe events that wouldn't happen for another 700 years? The source material we're digging into today presents this book as something else entirely, a genuine revelation that painted a portrait of a coming Messiah with details that, frankly, defy all logical explanation. Okay, to really get this, we've got to go back in time. Picture Jerusalem around 740 BCE. It's a mess. Their king, Uzziah, who reigned for over 50 years, is dead. There's this crippling fear sweeping the kingdom. Everyone's terrified that the brutal Assyrian army is about to invade. And to make things worse, the nation is rotting from the inside out with corruption and idolatry. It's into this total darkness that a voice is about to speak. And that's where we run into what's called the Isaiah Enigma. Now, for centuries, a lot of scholars have looked at this book and thought, okay, this has to be the work of a few different authors over a long period of time. But the source we're looking at makes a much more radical claim, that it's all one single, continuous vision. And if that's true, it makes what's inside all the more mind-blowing. You know, it's often called the fifth gospel. And get this, the source we're examining points to this incredible parallel in its structure. The book of Isaiah has 66 chapters, right? Well, the Bible has 66 books. The first 39 chapters of Isaiah are all about judgment, just like the Old Testament. And the final 27? They're about hope and redemption, just like the New Testament. I mean, is that just a coincidence? The source argues there's no way. So, how does a story like this even begin? Well, it starts with the man himself, Isaiah, and a shocking, life-changing encounter that kicks off his entire prophetic mission. So, Isaiah, who's a priest, is in the temple one day, and boom, he has this absolutely terrifying vision of God on his throne. And the experience is so powerful, so holy, that his first reaction isn't awe, it's just pure terror. He's horrified by his own unworthiness, totally convinced he's about to be destroyed. And this is where you see this incredible transformation happen, step by step. First, he screams out how impure he is. Then the celestial being, a seraph, flies down, takes a burning hot coal from the altar and touches it to Isaiah's lips, purifying him. It's only after that, in that moment, that he hears the divine call and finally accepts this impossible mission. This is the turning point. This divine question, whom shall I send, echoes in the temple. And Isaiah, the same guy who was just crushed by his own sense of failure, now steps up. His response, "Here I am, send me," not only changes his own life, but according to the source, it sets a 700-year prophecy into motion that would change the world. Okay, so Isaiah's got his mission now, and he starts to deliver these incredible clues about a king who's on his way. But the thing is, these clues weren't met with celebration, not at all. They were met with total and utter confusion. So, picture this. The first prophecy is given to this terrified king, King Ahaz, who is desperately looking for a military strategy to save his kingdom. And instead, Isaiah offers him a sign from God. He says a virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and he'll be called Emmanuel, which means God with us. To a king who wants an army, this just sounds like absolute nonsense. And it didn't stop there. The confusion just kept building. Isaiah follows up with another prophecy, this time about a child who will be called Mighty God and Prince of Peace. I mean, think about it. The nation is in a state of panic. They're facing war. And Isaiah is talking about babies. They wanted a warrior, a political powerhouse. Instead, they get these cryptic, impossible-sounding riddles. And yeah, you can imagine how that went over. They basically mocked him. But just when you think you know where this is going, it takes this really dark, completely unexpected turn. The next vision Isaiah gets is, by far, the most shocking and controversial one of all. It's the secret hidden deep inside his book. Because this is where everything gets turned on its head. The promised king? He's not some triumphant conqueror, after all. No, Isaiah sees a suffering servant, a figure who is completely and utterly rejected by the world. He's not celebrated. He's an outcast, a man who knows deep personal pain. This was the exact opposite of what anyone was expecting in a savior. And believe me, the vision gets way more intense. Isaiah sees this servant being punished.
but not for anything he did. He's being pierced and crushed for the sins of other people. He's taking the fall for something that belongs to someone else.
But here's the thing, there's a reason for all this horror. The suffering isn't meaningless. According to this prophecy, the punishment he takes brings peace to others. His wounds bring healing. He suffers so that they don't have to. It's that simple and that profound. So Isaiah has laid out this whole picture, a rejected man, tortured and executed, dying for the sins of others. But then, right when the vision seems to be at its most tragic end, he sees one last detail. And this is the one that's just completely impossible. So here's the ultimate paradox. The prophecy says, point blank, that after being crushed and put to death, this servant would live again. The text literally says, after the anguish of his soul, he will see the light and be satisfied. He will prolong his days. Life after a brutal execution? I mean, how could that even be possible? Okay, so this is where we put all the pieces together. All these clues that seem to contradict each other, the virgin birth, the divine king, the suffering servant, and the resurrection, they're not random. They're all part of a single coherent picture. And you really have to stop and think about the timeline here. It's just staggering. Isaiah is writing all these specific details down around 700 BCE. The events that Christians believe fulfilled these prophecies to the letter wouldn't happen for another 7 centuries. The source material presents this incredible time gap as the ultimate proof that this had to be from a supernatural origin. So, let's lay out the map Isaiah gave us. You've got the clue of a virgin birth. Check. The clue of a divine king. Check. The clue of a rejected man of sorrows. Check. The clue of a death that pays for the sins of others. And the final, impossible clue, a resurrection from the dead. According to the source, these aren't just separate prophecies. They are a single, detailed roadmap pointing to one specific destination, a figure known as the Messiah. And you get the sense that toward the end of all this, Isaiah himself had this profound realization. He understood he wasn't just writing warnings and promises for the people of his own time. He was actually documenting a divine plan. In a way, writing the story of the gospel hundreds and hundreds of years before the events would ever take place. So that's where this journey through the source material leaves us. It presents the book of Isaiah not as some dusty ancient history, but as a living document, a prophetic map laid out centuries in advance. And that really leaves you with one big provocative question. If this ancient text truly is a map, what does it point to for us today?